Now, let us see an example to form a pair group. I am going to form a symmetric group for vertex set V, which is having 4 elements. From that vertex set, I am going to find a pair group. We already know that S4 contains 4 factorial elements, that is 24 elements. I have formed all the first element itself identity, and I have formed all the 24 permutations, and their cycles are given, and their cycles are formed, and their corresponding structures, cycle structures are written. Then each and every permutation is induced to get R4, and their corresponding cycle structure are given, and this is the cycle index for R4. So adding all the elements and dividing by 24. Y1 to the power 6, y1 square, y2 square, repeated for 6 times. 9 times. Here 6, here 3. So 9 y1 square, y2 square. And this y3 repeated for 8 times. And y2, y4 repeated for 6 times. So adding all the 3 and divided by 24. This is an example for pair group. With this, we will move on to the next topic, equivalence classes of functions. Equivalence classes of functions. Okay. Let us consider two sets D and R. Both the sets are related by a function f from D to R. D is called as domain, R is codomain, sometimes it used to called as range. And the elements of D are related by the function f. So D is an element of capital D. Its image is a unique one, f of D. Mod R. What is mod R? Number of elements of R. Mod D. This mod S represents number of elements in the set D. Now, mod R raised to the power of mod D gives number of functions that can be formed from D to R. For example, let me consider D with the 3 elements ABC and R with the 2 elements ST. How many functions can you create? I can write A maps to S, B maps to S, C maps to S. That is one function. A maps to T, B maps to T, C maps to T. That is also another function. A maps to S, B maps to S, C maps to T. That is another function. So I can form so many functions for 2 sets. But I can find how many sets possible for this. How many sets are possible? According to the formula, mod R raised to the power mod D. Mod R is 2 elements. Mod D contains 3 elements. That is, D contains 3 elements. 2 to the power 3, 8 such mappings can be formed. That has been listed in the table. F1 is nothing but, F1 is a mapping that maps A to S, B to S, C to S. All the 3 elements maps to S. That is one type of mapping, F1. F2 is a mapping that maps A to S, B to S, C to T. A to S, B to S, C to T. Third mapping maps A to S, B to T, C to S. A and C are maps to S, B maps to T. Fourth function maps B, C to S and A to T. A maps to T but B and C maps to S. Fifth one maps B and C to T, A to S. A alone maps to S, these two maps to T. Similarly, sixth one maps A and C to D and B to S. Seventh one maps A and B to D, T and C to S. Finally, last one maps all the 3 to T. So, these are the 8 possible functions. You cannot frame one more functions other than these. Now, you consider a permutation group on D. What we are going to consider? We are given with the 3 elements. So, you find a permutation group with the elements of D. Suppose let me consider an example. I have taken a permutation group, identity permutation, and another remaining 2 permutations. If you check all the 4 conditions of group for this set P, all the 4 conditions will be satisfied. So this forms a group. Now I am going to define a definition called P equivalent. What is P equivalent? Whenever there exist two functions, so there are a collection of functions between these two. How many functions possible? 8 functions. Out of these 8 functions, in this example, if I choose any two, I can say that the two functions f3 and f6 or f3 and f8 or f4 and whatever it is, two functions are said to be P equivalent if it satisfies the condition f1 of d. What is d? D is any element in capital D, which will be equal to f2 of pi of d, where d is element of d. Whenever this condition is satisfied for any pi belonging to P, then I can say that those two functions are P equivalent. Please listen. This is a function and a permutation formed with the domain element, and that permutation satisfies the condition of groups. Now I am taking any two functions, possible functions between D to R, and those two are said to be P equivalent if f1 of D for any element D equals f2 of pi of D. Let me explain you with an example so that it will be clear. Let me consider a permutation. So this criteria is true for any of the permutation. There will exist one permutation which satisfying this condition. So I don't know which permutation satisfies this criteria. Let me choose the first one. Let me take it as this one as pi. That is identity permutation. Let me start with first element of D. What is first element of D? A. Actually it contains 3 elements A, B, C. Let me take A. So f1 of A. I am substituting in the left hand side f1 of A. What is f1 of A? f1 of, I am choosing two functions f1 and f2. That is also, I am choosing two functions f1 and f2. f1 of A. What is f1 of A? Yes. Come to the right hand side. f2 of pi of D, where D is A here. f2 of pi of A. What is pi of A? A maps to A. In pi, A maps to A. So pi of A is A. What is f2 of A? f2 of A is S. So both of them are equal. Similarly for B also these two are equal. Coming to C, the last element. f1 of C is S. f2 of pi of C, C maps to C. f2 of C is T. These two are not equal. So at one point, that is at C, the condition is not true. Therefore these two are not P equivalent. Let me choose the same two functions f1, f2, and let me check it for A, B, C. That is the second permutation. If I do like this, the criteria is true for A and C but not for B. So once again it is not equivalent, P equivalent. Now I am trying for f2, f3, the two functions f2, f3 and pi is ACB. f2, f3, I have chosen f2, f3 and this one pi is ACB. For this, at all the 3 points, this condition is true for all the 3 points in D. Therefore, f2 and f3 are P equivalent. So, what you have learnt? We have just learnt what is P equivalent. What we need to show that P equivalent? We need two functions. The functions defined between two sets D and R. And I need a permutation chosen from P, which is a permutation group. This permutation group is formed with domain of f1, f2, f3. So I am choosing a permutation from P and I am choosing two functions of between D to R, and I am checking the criteria whether these two are equal for all the elements. If it is equal, it is said to be P equivalent. Now this criteria is the relation defined here satisfies equivalence relation. What is equivalence relation? Equivalence relation is nothing but reflexive, symmetric and transitive. What is symmetric? A element related to itself. What is symmetric? A related to B implies B related to A. What is transitive? A related to B as well as B related to C means then A should relate to C. This relation satisfies all these criteria. Therefore, it is an equivalence relation. I explained you, since identity exists, reflexive is true, and for symmetricity, let me give you an example. Whenever A related to B, there should exist a relation B related to A. Let me choose pi, the first element of this permutation group, identity element, A to A, B to B, C to C. Let me find the reverse case, pi inverse. That is, pi inverse is simply you copy the second row first and first row as second one. That gives me pi inverse. Take the second permutation ABC. So that means A related to B, B related to C, C related to A. What is pi inverse? You just interchange the rows. BCA, ABC. BCA, then ABC. You rearrange the elements. First you write A to C. You write the third column as first column. Then you write first column as second column, B to A. C to B as third column. I haven't changed any mapping. I have just moved the place. I have taken this column A to C to first place. And this one to second place. And finally this to third place. So what is this mapping? A to C, C to B, B to A. Is it the permutation? Is it the permutation in permutation group ACB? Yes. So I have found inverse for all. This is nothing but A, B, C. That is also present in this. So inverse of this one present in B, inverse of this one present, inverse of this one is this, inverse of this one is this. I have shown here. So symmetric, A related to B implies B related to A. So symmetric property satisfied. When you check for transitivity, A related to B and B related to C. Let me take two permutations from these two. First, let me choose this one as pi 1 and pi 2. So I have written pi 1, pi 2. I have written its permutations. What is its composition? A to B, B to A. B to C. I am going to find the image of B. B to C, C to B, B. C to A to C. So it is a identity permutation. So composition of these two gives me an element which also present in P, which satisfies the transitivity. Therefore, this forms an equivalence relation. Satisfies all the criteria of equivalence relation. That's what mentioned in the text. Since P is a permutation group, it contains the identity permutation, that one is reflexive. If P contains permutation pi, it also contains pi inverse. According to a group, there should be an inverse. The relation is symmetric. If P contains permutation pi 1 and pi 2, it must also contain the permutation pi 1, pi 2. Therefore, the relation is transitive. Therefore, it's an equivalence relation. Whenever there is an equivalence relation, that can be divided into separate classes called as equivalence class. Look at this example. What we have seen just now. This set contains of 8 functions, and those functions are listed here. And P is a permutation. And if I group this, these are the corresponding equivalence classes. So that's all with equivalence class. Now the final topic is about Polya's theorem. the Polya statement. I will conclude this one with the Polya statement and I'll explain next everything in the next video, the application part. So the statement of Polya's theorem is the configuration counting series B of x is obtained by substituting figure counting series A of xi for each yi in the cycle index z of p, y1, y2, etc. yk of the permutation group P. Actually, this is the statement. In order to learn Polya's counting, we have run away through a long distance for the definition of cycle index and permutation group. These are the terms we must know in order to learn Polya's counting theorem. Only for these two purposes we have studied about permutations. We have started with the permutations, then we go with cycles, then cycle structure, then cycle index, then permutation group, then symmetric group, then pair group, then equivalence relation. So what we need is, in order to know about Polya's counting theorem, we should know what is cycle index and we should know what is permutation group, that we know. That new words configuration counting series, figure counting series will be explained in the next video.